Hello again. It's Michelle from Shoji Bridge Departure Tula. This week for National Healthcare Decisions Day, I've been making a series of videos about living wills. In our first video in the series, we talked about how I believe this document is more about how you live than how you die. And we also explained how a DNR is absolutely not the same thing as a living will. So, what is the living will? And why do I believe this is about how you live and not just how you die? Well, one quick aside, it is actually a living document, which means that you can, you should, and more than likely, you will be making changes to it as your life progresses. If you are 18 or older, you should absolutely have a completed living will. However, if you're 30 years old and you have a living will, the chances of you needing to change it as you age are very high. You could develop some chronic conditions. You may have a disability of some sort. You may receive a terminal diagnosis. And you could just change your mind about the way you think about living versus dying. If that happens, you definitely need to update this to reflect those changes. You can change this as many times as you want, just like a last will and testament. The last, most recent date on this document that has been signed, dated, and witnessed will override and cancel out any previous versions. So, how do I think this is about how you live? Well, I believe, and what I tell my clients, you need to begin to address this by thinking about what living means to you. There are two questions I want you to consider. One is, what is death? The second is, what is life? Is there a difference to you between being alive and not being dead? Pretty deep, huh? Now, there are no right or wrong answers to either of these questions, and how you come about deciding what is right for you, what you value, and what you believe could come from philosophical exploration, spiritual, religious, or just from a scientific, clinical, physical way. It's not straightforward at all. It's going to take some exploration and some soul searching. Secondly, you're also going to need to think about and imagine some situations that might arise in the future that would impact your need for health care. So none of this is quick, easy, or painless, but it is vitally important that you complete your living will document because it is not fair to your friends, your family, your healthcare proxy, even to our healthcare providers, to leave the decision for your care on them. You have the right to decide if there is a medical treatment that you want to pursue. You have the right to deny any medical treatment you do not want. But if you become incapacitated to a way that you cannot express what you want or do not want yourself, the only way for anyone to know that is to have it documented here. Now, the first step in this is to pick a healthcare proxy, and I have a video all about that. And it's very important for you to communicate with your healthcare proxy what these final decisions are. But my suggestion is when you start to fill out your living will and you've chosen who you want to be a healthcare proxy, bring them on board. Start to discuss these things with your healthcare proxy. Hopefully it'll be someone that you feel relatively close to and comfortable discussing things with. Bounce ideas off one another. Have some healthy debates. Have a devil's advocate. They may help you think of things that you never considered. Those are the kinds of things that you need to come to a fully realized, thoughtful, and meaningful living will document. And how helpful will it be to your healthcare proxy to not only have documented your final document with their signature, but to have been there as you were filling it out. They'll be able to understand your thought processes, what you value, what's important to you. So if an adverse event happens, they'll feel so much more confident about being your voice for you and advocating for what really matters to you. So in a nutshell, If you know what your highest priorities are and what having a decent, livable, or at least tolerable quality of life means for you, you'll be able to make your living will reflect those things. So then your living will outlines what matters most to you about living in your body. So in that way, as I said, this becomes a document about living and not just about not dying. I told you I would get you there. All right, so what is really in here? What's the nuts and bolts of what you need to think about, the choices that you need to make? We're going to talk about that in the next video. I hope you'll come back. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.